Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Merry Christmas! This is going to be my Flash Episode 9 video. And yeah, I know it's going to be off the air for a couple weeks, but don't freak out. It is coming back January 19th, the same week as Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow. So just careful for spoilers if you haven't seen the episode yet, and there's a new round of the Reverse Flash Ring giveaway. All you have to do to enter that is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. So why don't we go ahead and make this top 10 just because it's the mid-season finale. Big freaking episode, fattening the Flash up like a goose. Starting with number 10. Joe and Iris talk about what to get Barry for Christmas. My dad gave me this watch because I could never be on time. Gifts that always have secret meanings. I like that idea. Everything everyone else is getting for each other is some coded metaphor for something. That's exactly how fanfiction and fan theories start. This episode in particular did a really good job of showing the dichotomy between like the family stuff that happens around the holidays and the really WTF villain Flash stuff that's happening. Like you have the Rogue's Revenge, you have the Zoom stuff, but then you have the family drama. Holidays good for some people, really bad for others. On to my number 9 WTF, the actual opening of the episode. Hands down my new favorite opening to a holiday themed episode. Merry Christmas. Zoom was like, I'll totally spare Jesse Quick, but you have to help me with something. But even if it wasn't a flashback, if it was happening in real time, it still takes Harrison Wells the entire episode to kind of figure out why Zoom wants Barry so bad. He's pushing him a la Hunter Solomon and Wally West to get faster, not so that he'll be better like it was in the comics, but so that he can drink his Speed Force milkshake up. There will be speedster blood. On to number 8 though, Jay Garrick messing with Caitlin. So very clearly they were setting them up for a relationship early in the season. So Caitlin is probably just as awkward as Cisco or Barry. You can argue about which is the most awkward. I think Cisco used to be a little bit more awkward before Hawkgirl. But I just love some of their dialogue. Christmas? What's Christmas? And Caitlin just like totally buying it. She's just being super literal. Like, oh, well, Christmas is this celebration. She's like, seriously, no, I'm just joking. We actually have Christmas on Earth too. Also turns out that they have the Godfather on Earth too. That was another great line too. Every Earth has the Godfather. There is a lot of relationship stuff happening on the show right now. I feel like the most enjoyable one right now, or at least in this episode, was Caitlin and Jay, just because it's the perfect amount of cheeseball. I do love the comedy of Barry and Patty wearing matching ugly Christmas sweaters just because it's so terrible sounding. The problem with jokes like that, though, is that most people miss it. Like, most people will watch that and take it literally like, oh, that's stupid, they're wearing matching Christmas sweaters, without realizing that it's supposed to be stupid, like it's being stupid on purpose. Part of the fun of some of the humor, like the really awkward, nerdy, geeky humor between like Caitlin, Jay, Cisco, Barry, Patty, is that it's very self-aware. Like, we're the biggest nerds in the world, let's just have some fun. But on to my number 7 WTF, Weather Wizard breaks out Captain Cold and the Trickster from prison. And the Trickster, oh man, it's so much fun seeing Mark Hamill back. But this year, even though his role was a little bit smaller than it was last time, he's just so batshit crazy, especially the broadcast that he does later. Like, pretty much every time he has a line of dialogue, he has some sort of Christmas pun. And I know a lot of people watch Mark Hamill as the Trickster and they're like, oh, he sounds just like the Joker. But if you actually listen really carefully, the way he inflects his voice is a little bit differently. He doesn't go quite as high as the Joker goes. The Joker's laugh goes into like a much higher register. Either way, I think people are just really pumped to see him back. Really, the twist here is that Weather Wizard was just breaking Captain Cold out because he owed him one from last year. But Captain Cold is kind of on a hero arc. It's more of anti-hero. I mean, he's not a true hero because he still kind of hates himself like most villains do. Like, he loathes himself a little bit. But I think he uses the fact that he owes the Flash one for saving his sister to do something good without actually having to say that he's doing something good. Like, he wants to help Barry a little bit, so he's like, okay, I'll use this to clear the books. Also, cool thing to note, that a lot of the rogues know all about Barry being taken down by Zoom earlier. But on to my number 6 WTF, Patty learns that Mark Martin, the man who killed her father, is back and goes a little crazy. It's a really intense scene. The comedy's kind of tongue-in-cheek because Patty's like, I don't have the time to tell you, I can't say it fast enough. Barry's like, haha, that's kind of ironic. But Patty does not know that Barry knows about Harrison Wells of Earth 2 or all the metahumans. I know we're all kind of wondering how Patty's going to figure out, if she's going to figure out herself or if Barry's going to tell her. When I do think it ends up happening, I think it'll be a spectacular explosion in Barry's face, in the best possible way. But for most of this episode, Patty had her own arc to go after Mark Martin. That was her whole thing in this episode. She only crossed paths with the Flash briefly, but we do get to find out number 5 WTF, Patty and the Flash versus all the Dreidels. We do get to find out that Patty has a lot of anger inside of her over her father dying. She blames herself. I was the one that killed him. This was probably some of the best character development that the Patty character has gotten all season. I'm afraid of the guy that I really like finding out how angry I am. She makes it sound like she's keeping the secret from Barry, the boy that she really likes, but I don't really consider it a secret that's on par with like the Zoom Harrison Wells secret or Barry keeping his secret from Patty. But everybody has their secrets, like Wally West for instance. On my number 5 WTF, Iris freaks out, goes crying to Barry, and they talk to Joe about Wally West. Boom, big reveal, you have a son. This is like the moment where you turn to whoever you're watching the episode with and yell at them, I'm not crying, you're the one that's crying. Most cry-worthy moment of the episode. Wally. It's short for Wallace. It's what we were going to name you if you had been a boy. Based on their conversation, they make it sound like Wally doesn't know anything about Joe, doesn't know anything about Iris. So Joe's just breaking down throughout the episode, just feeling like he hasn't been there for his son when he needed him. Barry comforts him, and then finally later in the episode, onto my number 4 WTF, Joe gives Barry the watch. I always meant to give this to my son. I love you. Here you go. It just another big cry-worthy moment in the episode. Jesse Martin, the actor, was just on fire this week. He was amazing. I was a little surprised that he gave Barry the watch, though. I figured that he would give it to Wally West, but I guess we're going to see how that relationship's going to play out over the back half of the season. But I think him giving the watch to Barry is just a way for him to show that you're my son just as much as Wally is. On to my number 3 WTF, Team Flash disables all the bombs and Barry stops Patty from throwing her life away by killing Weather Wizard. So, amazing visual effects sequence followed by amazing WTF drama twist. Ending his life will also end your life. All the things that you love now will be taken away from you. Who else thought that Barry was going to rip his mask off to stop her, just to stop her cold in her tracks so she wouldn't pull the trigger? Mark Hamill's reaction is just priceless too. He's so bipolar. That character is so bipolar. This is so beautiful. He's full of so much emotion and so much evil at the same time. It's so funny. I love the Christmas fireworks of all the presents getting sucked up into the Earth 2 portal too. Merry Christmas, fireworks all over the sky, and we get a new lightsaber on the show. I see you've constructed a new lightsaber. Barry gets Force Lightning. Who wore it better, Luke Skywalker taking Force Lightning or Barry taking Force Lightning? It would not be a Mark Hamill episode if there weren't some Star Wars jokes in there. What a coincidence that this episode came out the same month that new Star Wars is coming. And also, during their whole firefight, there was another Easter egg for the comic. The Barry running on the helicopter blades and Weather Wizard levitating himself right out of the comics. On to my number 2 WTF, surprise Christmas guest, Wally West. What the hell's gonna happen now? So with Joe being super excited to meet him, and Wally seeming fairly well adjusted, I guess in the short scene that we've seen him in, it seems like it's gonna be a fairly positive thing. But it's going to be a lot of fun seeing all the other characters to adjust him, especially Iris and Joe. Does anybody else think that Joe is going to go into dad overdrive just to make up for all the years that he and Wally didn't know each other? But speaking of dads going overboard for their children, onto my number 1 WTF, Harrison Wells agrees to help fatten up Barry so that Zoom can take his Speed Force. A lot more Speed Force than he normally would be able to take. Another great appearance by Jesse Quake, but we finally learn what Zoom's big plan for Barry is. He just doesn't want to kill him to kill him. He wants to take his Speed Force to make himself more powerful. Now, giving and taking Speed Force is a big thing in the comics. That actually started around the Wally West era. So right now, Zoom seems like a cross between the Edward Claris Reverse Flash and Hunter Zolomon, wanting to make the Flash better, but also wanting to take his speed. In fact, after these scenes, I'm leaning a little bit further away from Henry Allen being Zoom. Just because if Zoom were Henry Allen, then he would know that Barry is his son of Earth 1, and no matter what the black hole that is his heart looks like, that he would probably still not want to kill his son no matter which Earth he was from. But let me know in the comments, what was your favorite moment from this episode? What do you think about Wally West? And how long do you think it's going to be before Team Flash finds out that Harrison Wells is going to double-cross them? Do you think that Harrison Wells will come clean to Barry? I mean, because Barry essentially came clean to Harrison Wells without him knowing about it. He was using Harrison Wells to forgive Eobard Thawne. Just like Joe letting go of his hate for his ex-wife, so that he could let in the love for Wally West. So Barry lets go of his hate so he can let all these good things back into his life. Maybe Harrison Wells of Earth 2 will do the same thing. But in terms of mid-season finales, I feel like this is my new favorite right now. We'll have to see if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. delivers as big of a WTF. Supposedly it will, so I'm pretty excited about that. What's going to happen next is I actually do have a bunch of Marvel bonus videos. I have some Doctor Strange stuff, some Captain America Civil War, I have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. mid-season finale, but there's also a trailer for the rest of the season of The Flash, so I'll try to do that sometime this week too. Don't forget, there's also the Arrow mid-season finale, so a couple really huge things coming in the next day or two. Just in case you guys haven't seen it, I did a Supergirl video for the big, character reveal. I guess just careful in case you haven't seen it yet. You can click here to learn all about that, all about the character from the comic books, and you can click here for my Game of Thrones Season 6 teaser video. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.